Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN. Today, we have a day 3 recap for you prior to KvK registration ending. At the moment, we have 4.5 hours. Remember, it ends at a reset today. I just did a recent pool going through all of the kingdoms that had not registered yet, checking in again today, along with going through the COC kingdoms to see if anyone might have switched from COC over to Winter is Upon Us. I will also do a final crescendo analysis and assessment of going through all 150 or so kingdoms, those that are active status and above, as we've done once registration period ends, so we can get a final tally. But hopefully this video will help some of those that are undecided and maybe some of those that are on one side or another if you feel like, okay, hey, maybe this is the time to switch possibly. So as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us out because that's a lot. Thanks. Also, at the end of this video, I will be making the sheet public. So for those of you that are curious on that, again, I'm going to have that public and I'll show you exactly where that's going to be. I think I have that. Oh, well, I thought I had it up. Hang on, un momento. We will go boom. And so when you join the Discord, a link to that in the pinned comment description down below, you will go to reaction roles, you'll click Call of Dragons, and then it is going to be here. If this section doesn't pop out, just click the header. You'll go to COD data stats, and I'm going to have it. I'm probably just going to swap this one out, the Kingdom Pool Stat one. So it's probably just going to be this one at number 1. So again, if you want to check that out and you'd like to get some information there on what I'll be showing off today, that's where you can go and find it. Okay, at the moment, we have 140 realms registered for Winners Upon Us. I did the data polling when there was 136. So there's about a 4 margin difference here for some that could be unregistered that did register, just as a disclaimer. In addition, I did not check, as I stated already, not all of the Winners Upon Us kingdoms to see if anyone might have switched from Winners Upon Us to Calling of Courage. I only checked the Calling of Courage because that was a lower number. Calling of Courage is at 47 realms registered. I think I pulled it when they were 44, 46, something like that. So there might be like 1 to 3 that have snuck in since I finished doing the polling to starting this recording, just again, for disclaimer purposes. Okay, let's go ahead and get right into it. So we're going to show you the sheet, and then I'm going to show you my notepad, and then I'm just going to give you my thoughts on how I think it's going. So as we work our way up. Now remember, I will also do migration point pools. I'll also grab like top 1 alliance power because, again, I still got to wait to get a recent pull from Fuzzy. As I've stated before, I know he's still kind of figuring out some stuff and getting stuff figured out on his end. But once I do get one, hopefully before this season starts, right, we will, of course, hopefully try to have all of those videos out that we usually would prior to the start of the season. Prediction, comparison, matchups, groups, etc. But I will at least go through, like I said, we'll update migration points, status if needed, and then whatever the top 1 alliance power is. Or if there's, if there's more, if there's like a second alliance that's $1 billion plus or something, where you might add that onto the total, just to kind of give you guys a soft estimate. Oopsies, where was I? 4423, right? There we go. So again, we only ended up pulling. So I did migration points for everyone, but this was when I pulled it about 2 days ago. So a little bit after it opened for registration specifically. Like I stated, we'll go through that again, and I'll do one for 5.5, or in this case, maybe 5.6. So I can show you the differences, right, between how we pulled it at the beginning of registration versus near the end. Because again, migration's been open, so there's just been some movement here and there, and then obviously in some kingdoms more than others. But for sake of this, we only pulled active status kingdoms and above. Or I'm sorry, we pulled from normal status if they were around 840 points and above. And you'll see that reflected here in a moment. Right, so here you could see we stopped at Kingdom 71 because they were at 841 points at the moment. Now, there could be some of these other kingdoms that are below this that are stronger, right? Maybe they got a large influx and they're a higher migration point total, stronger than some of these. I'll find those kingdoms out once I do the final pool after registration is closed and there's no more movement. This is just to give you an overview from kingdoms that were at 840 points and above. Also, the reason why I stopped here, as I stated in yesterday's video, is because these kingdoms started to indicate that on average, the power for the kingdom as a whole was below 5 billion power, right? It was starting to kind of average in that trajectory. So that's why we just decided to stop there. Okay, let's go ahead and work our way up. And then we're going to show you some stats and some numbers here. But again, as I'm sure you already know, there is a lot more kingdoms now that have registered for Winter is Upon Us than there is COC. I will show you. So as one example, 226 is, at least amongst this kingdom group, or I should say the data that you see here for those 149 kingdoms we pulled from, 226 is the only kingdom that was a COC kingdom that switched over to Winter is Upon Us. None of the others have switched at this time from what I saw, from what I just checked. But again, you'll see less gaps here, which is good for me because it just means less that I have to go through overall. And we'll still figure out everything, right, once we end up getting closer to the not once Smashing, once Break of War hits, right? Because then we'll know absolutely everyone that registered for what, because you'll be able to find that out. So here now we're getting above 2,500 points, almost to 3,000 points as well. You can still see a decent gap here. And then we'll get to like the top 20 and we'll pause because, again, I'm going to have to kind of go full on this one. But a lot more registrations. And I imagine we're going to get another flux and wave of them prior to registration ending. Okay, so let's start with the review. At the moment, out of the top 20, and this is soft estimate, right? Because again, we're going off migration points, those that are full, crowded, etc. Right? This is not off a top 300 power or top 600 power statistic or metric. So at the moment, based on this soft top 20, 17 of the top 20 have registered for Winter is Upon Us. 2 are unregistered, being Kingdom 57, that's NF57, and then 193, which is IR. GG from 68, only kingdom within the top 20, the soft top 20, that has registered for COC. That could potentially create, again, just because we know there's less kingdoms, and that's the thing, and I'll restate this again as I have been consistently stating it. It doesn't matter to me what scenario people sign up for. My only thing is that I'm thinking about all the players in the kingdoms. And when I say that, it goes to how are we going to create, and I have to think to myself, right? Like if I'm thinking as kingdom leadership or management, how are we going to get and give our players the best possible season for them to enjoy the most amount of fighting, the most fair and balanced opportunities? And the fact is it just comes down to having a bigger kingdom pool. That's really all it is. It just doesn't need to be overstated. We saw this happen in Rise of the Dragon. The last season for ROTD was arguably the most successful KvK season. Doesn't mean that, we're going to rate it a 9 out of 10, but it is the most successful thus far. Why? Because the majority of the kingdoms from the Gen 2 pool at the time registered for the ROTD season or scenario. And because of that, we had a lot more balanced and fair matchups. Almost every single KvK group that had 6 kingdoms in it was able to have all 6 of those kingdoms make it to the final zone, despite, I think, a small handful, maybe 1 or 2, that did not make it all there. And most of the matchups were balanced. Most of them were 3v3 splits. There, of course, was some 4v2s here, but most of them were 3v3s. Most of the teams and the allies on either side were very balanced. We did statistical breakdown showing you guys the stat matchups. Again, man, the proof is in the pudding. We know it works. But again, the main difference here is that there is no ROTD, right? You only have 2 options to choose from, which is Winter is Upon Us and Calling of Courage. We did some comparisons on them for some of the overviews, some of the high-level overview things, not everything. And when we compared, my assessment at the end was that it just really wasn't that big of a difference, right? I alluded to things like, well, with Winter is Upon Us, it was the newer season. A number of people enjoyed it, from it having the seasonal talents to the army groups, a different map layout, different dragon. It's just right? And then obviously with COC, you know, you don't get zone 1 invaded. You know, that obviously I'm sure is a turnoff for some, however many that may be. But again, some people like COC. And that's why I say, to me it doesn't matter. My only thing is that I just believe that if, regardless of what season you enjoy more or not, to me it has to come down to how are we going to put our kingdom how are we going to put our kingdom and our players, our community, in the best possible position to have the most fulfilling KvK. And the fact is that if we're looking at this from an objective common denominator perspective, you're going to have higher percentage chances of having a more fulfilling KvK by joining the pool that has more kingdoms. Regardless if you like that season or not, in this case, the clear answer at this point is winter is upon us. Now, again, maybe people will get lucky. And based on whoever registers for it, maybe you'll have some KvK groups for those in COC with 4 kingdoms compared to having 6 and winter is upon us. Maybe you'll get fortunate in that case, and you'll still get some balance and some fair matchups. Just keep in mind that the percentage chances go down for that when you have a smaller pool. It doesn't even matter what the season is. We're just talking simple numbers here. So to me, that's all it is. So in that case, let me show you some numbers. So when I had pulled this, right, there was 140 winners upon us, 47 COC. The kingdoms that are at 1K points and above, if you have 1K migration points and above, again, this was based on what we pulled on the 3rd, right? So there could still be some, there might have been a couple or some that could have squeezed in past 1K points as of late. We haven't checked that yet. 105 kingdoms have registered for winners upon us, 20 COC. That's a little bit more than 5 to 1. 24 of those are unregistered. For the top 20 kingdoms, right, we showed you that. 17 winners upon us, 1 COC, 2 unregistered. When we look at the top 106, this is from active status and above, right? So at 1,500 points and above. 75 are winner is upon us. That is a, what's that, a 5 to 1 still? And a little bit more. And 14 COC, 17 unregistered. So just you have to factor that. So an example, and I'm sure, and that's the thing, man, I wish I had a little bit more time so I could pull even just like some kingdom strength numbers, like bubble position players. Just again, I wish I had a little bit more time on that because I have to kind of go do a lot of those things manually whenever I don't get a scan, or just don't have one at the moment to share, I should say. You could be looking at something like GG, right? And we talked about that, right? So it'd be like GG, Zoo, BB, and then maybe OO or RK, right? That could possibly be a 4 kingdom matchup. Then you'd have RK, UDF, RPNN. Next COC would be something like Sura, Rod, MBH, Ham. Again, migration point wise, these aren't far off. Next group could be something like RS, ROC, ST, L2NV. And then maybe you'd get like GF here from 55, Kint there from 311, PWB 343, MCU from 48. Right? These are just some examples, right? Obviously, we'd have to look at top 300 power, some other stats as well to probably give a more accurate-ish, higher accuracy prediction. If you're looking at winter is upon us with 6 kingdoms, I mean, listen, if NF57 opts to go, you could potentially be looking at like this, NF57 or maybe Echo swapping in there. We talked about this earlier, right? Otherwise, it would be, I mean, this would be pretty hot. Echo W, BA, BDO, 25IW, EDSSG. Next group could be looking like this, right? Plus SG 97 there for FGWG, IWG, KOV, EIS, EIL. You could be looking at BNR, NTS. That'd be pretty cool. MM, ASH, A2G, even TFS, right? So TFS notable, they registered for winners upon us as well within, I think, the last 12 or 14 hours. So again, right, that's another notable kingdom, right, on the re-come up. Like DBB, QOD, UFA, MFD, laws at 21 SW. I mean, kind of the list goes on. So yeah, those are my simple views. That's really just where I stand on it. right? I think time will tell. Once registration ends, we see what the numbers look like for who's officially registered for which scenario. And then on top of that, we see what the groups are going to be. That obviously will kind of give us the tell all, because then we'll be able to have the groups announced and we can see what the numbers look like, right? By hopefully kind of doing like a full PvP breakdown for the group via analysis. And then I'm sure that'll tell us a little bit more on, okay, well, hey, is this matchup more fair? Is it more balanced? Is it not? Right? Are the numbers holding true, or right, did they skirt by a little bit? So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think down below. Anything else you would like to see me do once registration ends? Let me know in the comments. Alrighty, that's it for us. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.